Welcome to The Method, Real Talk for Real People, and this is your announcer, Deidre Lee, coming at you from St. Andrew United Methodist Church, Little Rock. If you're excited like I am, let me hear you make some noise. This episode is sponsored by Better Community Development Incorporated, The Business Experts, Denman Hamilton and Associates CPAs, Miss Lady Magazine, and St. Andrew United Methodist Church. It's time for the talking to begin, y'all. You're listening to The Method, Real Talk for Real People.
Hello and welcome to The Method, Real Talk for Real People. I'm KV Knox, your host for today's episode, and I am excited to be here today. So, Deidre Lee, how's your day been so far?
Girl, let me tell you, I had a blast.
Did you?
Yes, girl.
That must mean we didn't work today then. Usually people have a fun and a blast when they don't have to go to work. You must have been off today, right?
Girl, yeah, like Tommy off Martin.
You gave me that look like I took
Everybody
off, but don't
know
tell
Tommy
nobody.
ain't got no
I'm just
job.
saying. But that is okay. Hey, before
You
we
ain't gotta
get
put
things
me
started
on.
here on The Method today, I would like to say that The Method Real Talk for Real People is one of many mission and outreach programs offered through the Arkansas Conference of the United Methodist Church. We'd like to thank our conference for the support through St. Andrew and Better Community Development Incorporated. I would like to encourage our listeners to check out what's going on in the Arkansas Conference. They're doing some life-changing things. So check out their website today at www.arumc.org. I'm going to say it again, www.arumc.org, okay? All right, so are you ready for the talking to begin?
Yeah.
All right, well, let's go ahead and get down to business. And let me tell you about the history of our show. The Method, Real Talk for Real People, is based on the 22 questions of personal reflection by the founders of the Methodist movement in America and Great Britain. And that is John and Charles Wesley. Now, when they started their Holy Club, they were students at Oxford. Each show topic is based on something pertaining to the questions. And today's question is Holy Club question number 13. Do I disobey God in anything?
Dun, 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 dun.
So today's show topic is the method to obedience. In this segment, we're going to talk about, for those that believe, why do you feel it's important to obey God? Now, for this segment, the staff and crew did some research on what some people out there thought about this subject. We found an interesting quote by Earl Dickerson, and that was part of an article entitled Strength Through Obedience in the daily devotional, The Upper Room. Now, this is what Mr. Dickerson had to say. I have discovered that loving Jesus and obeying Jesus are two sides of the same coin. And in my experiences, when God calls us to do something, God gives us the ability to obey. So, Deidre Lee, what do you think about that, being a two-sided coin? You got loving Jesus and obeying Jesus being a two-sided thing.
Well, see, it's like your parents, it's like you're being a child. You love your mom and you have to obey your mom, or you love your dad and you have to obey your dad. Well, when I used to be a kid, I ain't going to say I disobeyed all the time, but
Yes, you can say that. Go ahead. No, I'm just playing.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Well, then,
Let's be real.
No, go
Be
ahead.
real, you guys. Okay. Instead of me disobeying her, I would say I did my own thing.
That's the same thing.
Yeah. Tomato, potato, same thing.
See, tomato, potato. You doing too much. That's too extra.
But, I mean, he's right, though. Loving Jesus and obeying him is like a two-sided coin.
It is, because Christ tells us in the Gospels, if you love me, you will what? Obey me. If Jesus took the time to make sure that that was spoken and that be recorded, I think it might be important, don't you think?
I
It's very
do,
important.
and thank you for that, D. Marie. I had to say
You so
your name
stupid.
because nobody might not know who you are because you just started talking. So we got to let people know who you are and where that's coming from. So you know what? We've started off great, but before we go any further, I want to take a quick break and hear a word from our sponsors. But before we go to break, I've got one question to ask you. Do you like the method? Let our listeners know. You're listening to The Method Real Talk for Real People on 88.3 KABF, the voice of the people.
Like The Method? Then follow us all the time. Like The Method on Facebook. Hit us up on Instagram or follow us on Twitter at TheMethod3. It's easy. By doing this, you are empowered to ask our empowerment guests questions, give us immediate feedback on the show, gain access to empowerment information, see listings of music used for the show, and post pictures or shout-outs. We look forward to your posts and tweets. Thanks for supporting The Method, real talk for real people.
This empowerment message is sponsored by New Horizons Foundation, Incorporated. Being bullied is no laughing matter. If you find yourself a victim of bullying at your school, here's some suggestions for empowerment. Tell your principal. Let your parent or guardian know. If nothing has been done to your satisfaction, tell the anti-bullying task force in your school district or juvenile criminal division. A positive learning experience leads to achievable and educational results. This is Max Whitfield, resident bishop of Perkins School of Theology, and I'm glad to know that New Horizons Foundation Incorporated supports The Method, real talk for real people.
This 30-second empowerment moment is brought to you by the tax experts, Denman, Hamilton and Associates. When it comes to making good financial decisions, it's good to get started on financial empowerment as soon as possible. Start with a budget and stick to it. Try living below your means. Buying things on sale could save you a lot of money. And most importantly, invest your money. Let your money work for you. Make an appointment today with the tax experts. This is KV Knox for the tax experts, Denman, Hamilton and Associates. And we're so glad that Better Community Development is rebuilding communities and restoring lives. Don't forget to like Denman, Hamilton and Associates on Facebook and follow them on Twitter for more tips on financial empowerment.
What's up, Arkansas? You are listening to The Method Real Talk for Real People, and we've been having a meaningful conversation about who we are as people and how we need to come together to be in the community. Now, it's time to stop focusing on ourselves and more on others. So for this segment, we will be talking about ways that dishonesty can be a lifestyle. Now, I want to put something on your mind. There was a study conducted by the Harvard Business School and also the Kenan Flagler Business School of the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill that stated, people routinely engage in dishonest acts without feeling guilty about their behavior. People justify dishonest deeds through moral disengagement. This motivates people to forget about moral rules. But in the business world, this type of behavior decreases when employers require employees to sign an honor code. Now that sounds interesting. How can we apply that to our lives? You know, we've got our empowerment guest, Kafi Hunter, sitting next to me. I think I'm going to start with you. What do you think about that?
Well, I think it's all about how probably you were raised. If you were raised with an upbringing to always be honest, I think even if you do tell a lie, your conscience won't allow you to continue on with the lie. Mm-hmm. Somewhere in that process, you're going to tell off on yourself, like me. I don't lie well. If you want me to lie, you have to tell me what I have to say, because I will mess it up. I've always been like that. I've always told off on myself. So I really think that's just how, you know, maybe a little bit about your upbringing and things like that. And it also goes back to the teaching, your spiritual teaching, or whatever your spiritual background is. So I think that has a lot to do with that. So if you don't have the background, then you think it's okay. So if no one ever tells you it's not okay to lie, if no one ever punishes you for telling a lie or fibbing or doing dishonest deeds, then you think that type of behavior is okay. But if that behavior has been corrected, then you actually know in your conscience, your subconscious mind, you're like, oh no, I cannot continue to do this type of behavior. And eventually you just kind of own up and check yourself. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes complete sense.
With honesty, put it to you like this. You want someone to be honest with you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you have to be honest with yourself. Even though I've said it before, but I mean, it's still the same thing. You have to be honest. Like if you want something done or somebody to do something for you, you know, they need to trust you. Mm-hmm. And vice versa, you trusting them. Mm-hmm. I mean, honesty, trust, and all of that is a two-way street.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with Ms. Deidre. Honesty, trust, and obedience all go hand in hand.
It's everything is like a two-way street. Like, you needed to move on. You needed to carry on. Like, you need those three things to really make it in life.
Yeah, and like you said, Deidre, if you can't be honest with yourself, you can't be honest with anyone else. Everything starts with you. You have to make a conscious decision to be honest instead of making the decision to tell a lie.
Okay, so what about the people who are blindly obedient to do bad things because they're out there? We see it all the time. Okay, we're saying that it's good to obey God. That's a requirement that God has of us. We good, moral people obey their parents. Well, children should obey their parents because of the benefits. You assume that your parents won't tell you to do anything wrong, but what about the ones that are blindly obedient and they do bad things?
I think that goes back to what they've been taught. So someone had to instruct them in some way. So in their minds, they don't think it's being disobedient, or they don't think they're being dishonest. They're doing what they have been instructed to do. Prime example, we can take the government. We all know that they have hired assassins, right? And so their job is to go and actually kill. I mean, they're taught to kill. They're trained to kill. So in their minds, they're not doing anything dishonest or bad because that's what they're taught and have been trained to do. However, I think at some level, in some conscious level, they have to detox themselves or detach themselves once they get out of that particular position or they retire or whatever. And they have to have some type of balance to bring them back to life in order to be able to work and live in society. I don't know if you all watch Scandal, but B613.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
B613.
Huck. That's
is
what
the
I was
truth.
thinking the whole time you were talking. Huck. Yes.
And it's real.
Yes.
They have to have some type of balance, but they don't think it's being dishonest because it was what they were trained to do. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's all a matter of perception and perspective. If, Maya Angelou told us once you know better, you do better.
That's right.
And maybe they've never known any better. It's just like someone who might be racist. Racism can come from all of the races, not just one particular one. And anyone who is racist, they might have just been what they were taught. They might have been all they've ever seen at home. They might not know that the only real difference between us as humans is on a genetic level, and it's so small, it's minute. They might not know that there's a better way to treat people.
Right.
Same thing with a little kid. A little kid might not know if he's never been taught that the way you get what you want isn't by screaming and hollering until somebody gives it to you.
Right.
You can't really be mad at that child because they don't know any better. But once you teach them better, they start doing better.
Exactly.
Well, this has been a deep conversation that we started off with. In fact, all of it has really got me thinking about some things. So let's take a quick break, pay some bills, and when we get back with some more real talk for the people, we're going to have more to talk about being obedient. You are listening to The Method, Real Talk for Real People, right here on 88.3 KBF, the voice of the people, and we'll be right back.
This empowerment message is sponsored by Better Community Development Incorporated. If you want to get involved in your community, here are a few suggestions. It's always good to be a member of your neighborhood association. And if you want, volunteer at your neighborhood alert center to stay in the know on what's going on. And if you see a need that needs to be met in your local community, well, guess what? It's all right to raise money for the cause. This is Robert Hunt, Professor of Christian Mission and Interreligious Relations at Perkins School of Theology, and it's good to know that Better Community Development Incorporated supports the method, Real Talk for Real People.
Hello, I'm Yaya, and after spending the whole weekend playing with my grandchildren, it is a blessing to share the Monday night community meal at St. Andrew. It fills us up with food and friendship, and I don't have to wash the dishes. And what grandmother doesn't like a Monday night full of great food, friendship, and free prayer offered in English and Spanish? Come on out for free food and prayer every Monday from 6 to 6:45 at St. Andrew United Methodist Church, 4600 Baseline Road. For more information, call 501-562-1891 or visit our website at www.standandrew.umc.arumc.org. You can follow us on Facebook. Just tell them you heard it about it from Yaya.
SMU Perkins School of Theology is more than just a theological school. It's a community of people who want to improve the quality of life for people. Perkins School of Theology is committed to the mission of preparing men and women for ministry in church and society. You don't have to be a pastor to be a student. There are several degree programs that you may want to choose from. Not only is Perkins one of the leading theological schools in North America, but it's a place that supports and nurtures students like me to fulfill our passions, to serve with creativity, innovation, and urgency. If you're interested in discerning your call in your life, please contact the admissions office at 1-888-THEOLOGY or email your interest at theology@smu.edu. Herbert Coleman would love to talk to you. This is Dina Hamilton, Masters of Divinity student here at Perkins, and I am so glad that Perkins School of Theology supports the method Real Talk for Real People.
Hey, hey, Little Rock, we're back, and thanks for tuning into the Method Real Talk for Real People. We have had a perfect segue to our empowerment break, and now we're back with Real Talk. So for this segment, we're going to talk about obedience. But for this segment, let's talk about when it is good to not be obedient. Are you confused? I'm not. I'm going to say it again. Let's talk about when it is good to not be obedient. Because we all know that when it comes to harming others, we should not blindly be obedient. So let's see what our empowerment guests have to say about the subject first, and then we'll go check in with Deidre Lee and then go to our audience. So, Kafi, what do you think about that? Because everybody looked at me real crazy when I said that, but I meant it.
Yeah, we did.
I meant it.
We did.
If you've been taught all your life just to fire back, or you've been brought up in an environment where you had to fight, just fight for everything, right? So now you come into a situation where, I'm going to use gangs as an example, okay? That's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so in a gang, you get initiated, taught, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
However, sometimes in gang initiations, they ask you to actually maybe murder someone or shoot someone or whatever to get your teardrops or whatever you have to do. That's a situation where you don't want to be blindly obedient. However, they may have to do that because they fear for their own lives. Or if you're put in a hostage situation and you've been kidnapped or anything like that, and you have to shoot someone or kill someone to save your own life, you know. But if you ever been put in that situation, it's kind of hard to say. So, oh my God, that is a really good question. Maybe we need to ask somebody else and maybe help me pull my thoughts
That's all right.
through.
We're going to go to Dee Marie, because you know what? That was actually her question, believe it or not.
Well, the reason why I put that question in is because I was thinking about, actually, when I wrote this script, I had just finished writing the script for the sexual abuse show. And I was thinking, you have people in these vulnerable positions that end up in those situations like that, like, say, a little child dealing with someone that's an authority figure in their life, like a teacher, counselor, Lord forbid, someone in the church, but that always can happen. And they blindly obey and say, no, don't tell your mom or dad, or I'm going to kill them. What are they going to do? They're going to suffer in silence. So my thing is, if you're in that situation, tell anyway. Do not blindly be obedient when you are put in harm's way, when you are being abused, bullied. I know a lot of people do not report bullying, and that is why it is so rampant the way that it is. It is a culture at SMU. It is all through the university. Bullying is like serious business down there. And I think about how people suffer in silence because they blindly go with the flow.
And I think that goes back to fear of the consequences, or the fear of what may happen if, say, someone, especially when you go back to the child abuse situation, that if you tell, I'm going to kill. And when you have a child who hears that, they're going to try to protect in any way, shape, form,
at
or
every
fashion.
cause. They are the sacrificial lamb. You right, Kafi?
And so I think that also goes back to being taught. I don't care what situation you in. If somebody harms you, it touches you in a certain way, you go tell. I'm your mama. You tell somebody. And so that has to be ingrained into that child in order for them to overcome that fear they put into that situation.
But it's also a catch-22. When we look at the situation in situations like that, what happens if the mom doesn't believe the child? or the mama is in fear of losing that man.
Or the benefits that comes with it.
Exactly.
Right.
If you don't know yourself, know thyself. To thy own self be true.
Yeah, Socrates wasn't playing with that, was he?
It also goes back to the trust issue when you talk about, especially dealing with children and wanting children to tell stuff, especially a child that has been abused, coming from personal experience. If they don't have that trust to be able to go and tell an authority figure,
Then who they gonna be able to talk to?
Yeah, if they don't feel like they have no one to talk to. If that child feels like I go tell the authority figure and the only thing that's going to happen is I get in trouble, then they will keep their mouth closed, because it's better to suffer with this one punishment here where at least I know what's coming than to have to deal with one that is going to be new to me.
Well, I'm going to just say, by being a person in the past that have gone through situations like that to where I had to tell the authority figure, even though I did not get justice for the situation that I was in personally, the fact that I let it be known to somebody else, that was the most freeing thing I've ever done in my life. It liberates you to tell somebody, look, this has been done to me and it is wrong. Do something about it. If you can't do nothing about it, report it. So if I gotta whoop somebody's tail, I'm on the side. I'm on the right side. I'm just playing on the left. No, I wasn't playing.
I believe in prison ministries.
What'd you say? What'd you say?
I believe in prison ministry.
You know what? This has been great, but we are going to pause again for the calls, pay some bills, and hear a few wise words from some more of our sponsors. You are listening to The Method, Real Talk for Real People, from St. Andrew United Methodist Church.
This empowerment message is an offering from the staff and the crew of The Method. It's hard forgiving people for the injustice they cause in our lives, but only through forgiveness that the healing process can begin. Here are some suggestions on empowerment to begin the pathway to healing. Understand that the person that has wronged us may not ever apologize for the pain caused, so don't wait for an apology to start the healing process. Look for positive ways to process what we may have been through. Go through counseling, take a painting or creative writing class, start a new hobby. Finally, realize that the pain and anger will go away with time. This is Jamie McAdoo from Little Rock, Arkansas, and I'm glad to be a part of The Method, Real Talk for Real People.
What's up? We're back. You're listening to The Method, Real Talk for Real People on 88.3 KBF, and the people today have spoken. What?
What was that, y'all?
Xavier, did you just fart?
No.
But I heard a fart sound come from your direction.
Blame the dog.
What dog? The dog?
No, I'm just playing. I did.
Oh, Zay! Gross. Okay, so what does that have to do with the method to obedience?
Because the dog obediently took the blame for my fart.
She sure did. She was just looking up like, yeah, I did it.
Oh, wow. Y'all are over there cutting up. Could both of you briefly give us your experiences from this show today?
Well, I just really think, and this is Cafe speaking, that what we touched on, from trust to honesty to disobedience, really all goes hand in hand. And I really think that a lot of that if you come from an environment where you are taught the proper morals, then a lot of that won't be an issue. And if it is, if you're like myself, you will tell on yourself, or you will try to be as honest with yourself as possible so you can be as honest with other people. And then therefore the people can trust you, and you will obey when you have to obey. And you won't blindly be obedient to when you know something is false or an error or is just the wrong thing to do. That's what I got from all of this dialogue today.
What's going on, everybody? It's Xavier, a.k.a. DJ Blue Jokes. What I got from the method today was honesty is everything. Honesty is key. And not only is being honest with yourself important, but also having someone there who can help keep you honest is important as well. For Jesus, his time on earth, God kept him honest. He kept him honest through his communications with him, through the tests and trials and tribulations that he allowed him to experience in order for him to preach his ministry. And here on earth, we need someone who we know we can trust, who's going to be honest with us, who can help keep us honest, because our honesty builds relationships. And those relationships, we're all interconnected, and they're all interconnected. And trust just being so important. You never know how one thing that you could say, be it the truth or be it a lie, could tremendously impact someone's life.
Amen.
Well said.
Well
All
said.
right. Well, you've
Well
been listening
said.
to the Method
And
Real
said,
Talk
Deidre.
for real people. The people have spoken. Take us on home, Deidre Lee.
You've been listening to The Method, Real Talk for Real People on 88.3 KABF, the voice of the people. This episode of The Method is sponsored by Better Community Development Incorporated, restoring lives, rebuilding communities. The Business Experts, Denman, Hamilton & Associates, CPAs. Make an appointment with the business experts today. Miss Lady Magazine, we are where you are. And St. Andrew United Methodist Church, where we are people helping people. Executive producer, Kristen Beasy Knox. Produced by Deborah Bell, A. Marie Jones, Chester Ray Jones, C.E. McAdoo, and William Robertson Jr. Technical directors, T.J. Macklin and Doug Pierce. Technical support provided by St. Andrew United Methodist Church. This episode of The Method was hosted by the original Fly Girl of Talk Radio, KB Knox, and is written and created by Dina Marie Hamilton. If you want to make a difference in the community, do it by following the G Code. Do no harm. Do as much good as you can and be a good person and neighbor. That's the Methodist way, and it could be yours too. This is your announcer, Deidre Lee. Thank you for your support and being down with The Method. The Method, Real Talk for Real People, is an Opportunity Knox production.
Like The Method? Then follow us all the time. Like The Method on Facebook, hit us up on Instagram, or follow us on Twitter at The Method Podcast. It's easy. By doing this, you are empowered to ask our empowerment guest questions, give us immediate feedback on the show, gain access to empowerment information, see listings of the music used for the show, and post pictures and shout-outs. We look forward to your posts and tweets. Thanks for supporting The Method. Real talk for real people.